Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, that's more like it. Just to reiterate, and so there's no confusion, my name is Dan Roberts. I am the Dean of the Honors College at Virginia State University in Petersburg, Virginia. And more than that, I am your very proud NCHC25 conference chair. I hope everyone's enjoying San Diego. And moving on, I am president-elect for another couple of weeks and will be your NCHC president for 2026. So thank you for coming out this morning. So very, very pleased to have you with us. I have with me a group of colleagues who I could not be more proud of and to be proud to be associated with. They have been the breath under my wings for just a number of years. And we'll get into that in a few moments, but it brings us out of COVID and into this very, very beautiful space of having an amazing collaborative that we work with. And we're going to get into the details about some of the things that we've done. But more than anything, what we want to reiterate is this is a collaborative that can be a model for the creation of others in honors. And so that's what we're so excited about sharing with you today. You can see in our program everyone who's on this panel, but I want them to introduce themselves quickly so that you know who's who and can help to follow up with them going forward. So if I could, from the far end of the stage.
Good morning. I'm Heidi Apple, Dean of the Honors College at the University of Houston.
Morning. I'm Keith Garbett. I'm the Dean of the Honors College at Oklahoma State University.
Good morning. I'm Andrea Radisanu. I'm the director at Northern Illinois University.
Good morning. My name's Tim Nichols. I serve as Dean of the Davidson Honors College at the University of Montana.
Welcome. I'm Becky Bott, Dean of the Virginia Tech Honors College.
Good morning. My name is Greg Heiberger. I serve as the interim Dean of the Honors College at South Dakota State University.
Howdy, I'm John Kotinik. I'm director of the Honors Academy at Texas A&M University.
Can we give these guys a round of applause? For many reasons, collaborations in honors rarely enjoy more than a year or two of success. Often it's resource issues, human and capital, that stall good intentions. Sometimes it's personalities and hubris. Today's presentation is about a success and how this has been achieved and might be replicated by others. A core group of our collaboration is gathered on the stage with me. We are best known for our implementation of the Justice Challenge. But I assure you, this collaboration is much more than a single grant or initiative. To give you a little bit of a sense of what our collaboration looks like in the form of the Justice Challenge, we have a short video to share out what some of our students might say about us.
One word that describes the Justice Challenge for me is grounding.
Transformative.
Initiative.
I participated in the first cohort of the Justice Challenge, which is on food justice.
The second cohort of the Justice Challenge on climate justice.
The third cohort on sustainable agriculture.
The Justice Challenge, the colloquium is a semester-long course where you get to critically analyze the problem that you're going to face this year.
Through that experience, I honestly learned how collaboration and problem solving can connect climate justice with community heritage and economic sustainability.
We have many speakers come in to share their expertise, and this is actually my favorite part of the colloquium because I got to hear from so many people that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to hear from otherwise.
The Design Challenge is a semester-long course where you are in person at a university.
And this was a really collaborative experience, and it was an opportunity for us to practice using our systems thinking skills.
I was drawn to the Justice Challenge because it offered a space to connect my interests in sustainability and agriculture and justice, and to explore how those variables intersect in real-world communities.
The hackathon is a weekend-long activity where everyone is divided up into groups, and we're presented a problem.
During the 30 hours, you were tasked with developing an idea to fight the problem at hand.
Continuing my connection with TJC has allowed me to deepen my understanding of justice-oriented education.
I really enjoyed having the opportunity to work with people from all over the country.
It was eye-opening to see how climate and agriculture issues look different across regions, and yet how everyone shared the same passion for building more sustainable systems.
And the Justice Challenge really emphasized the importance of thinking about different perspectives and complexities when addressing a problem.
Through this challenge, I learned that creating change in food and agriculture systems requires listening to people, understanding context, and designing solutions that care for both the land and the community. And it honestly has been an invaluable experience for my professional development and my growth as a student alike. The Justice Challenge has honestly changed my perception about how powerful collaboration can be. Real change happens where diverse voices come together to tackle shared challenges.
We'll do it starting like that.
Excuse me. That gives you a window into the ongoing Justice Challenge and what an amazing initiative it's proven to be. But how do we get there? How did this ragtag group of honors scholars coalesce into building out some kind of sustainable collaborative?
I wish I could talk with Honors College colleagues outside of my university more often than at the annual conference. I wish I had others to think through ways to improve the skills of our honors students to address social justice issues.
Just colleagues I could bounce ideas with and not feel stupid, to gather multiple perspectives and to get ideas. And hey, what if our students could form those kinds of connections too?
Imagine if honor students can come together and learn from the best experts across the nation and the world. And further imagine if they got together and collaboratively developed a comprehensive worldview that was unencumbered by political ideology, geographical location, or even academic discipline.
And thus began our collaboration. In the midst of the pandemic, in the aftermath of Black Lives Matter movement, 16 of us began meeting weekly on Zoom just to talk through ideas. Others joined the group as interests and availability aligned. Our first grant proposal of $7,500 wasn't funded. We then decided to plan a $750,000 proposal for a USDA Higher Education Challenge Grant to support one of our original goals to help honors students develop skills to address social injustices.
We're meeting to plan at 4 p.m. on December 31st. Wait, that's New Year's Eve.
Well, I'll bring the champagne, at least virtually.
What? I've never written a proposal for a grant this size. What am I doing here?
Seriously? What am I getting myself into? Who even are these people?
Wait, what are indirect costs? What does that even mean?
How much money is coming to my institution? What will my provost think of this?
And so began the planning. The first USDA proposal wasn't funded, making us 0 for 2 in grant writing. So logically, we decided to try again with USDA, focusing this time on the land grant institutions in our collaborative. On our third submission, we were awarded a USDA Higher Education Challenge Grant for $750,000 and began implementing the Justice Challenge. And with that success, we soon decided to write our first collaboration paper together.
What? 13 co-authors? You've got to be kidding. Would everyone be writing? And how would we balance all of the many voices?
Okay, we've got this. You could write this section. I think you'd be really good at the research and writing here.
How would we figure out authorship, as the order between humanists and scientists are so different? I don't care at this stage in my career, but for other people, it's vital.
We managed to do it. And I think we drove the NCHC editors nuts. So many release forms, so many desk copies.
Arriving later in the planning process, I wondered how I could contribute.
The collaboration has gone on now to publish 13 articles and given many more presentations to help honors students develop skills and to address social injustices. Our goal in the next section of this presentation is to share what we have learned about successful collaboration, what strategies worked, which did not, and what can we recommend to others. So from the following slides, we're going to begin to outline for you the four thematic areas for our presentation and which grounded our collaboration. We then turn to look into the future for our work before opening up the floor to your questions.
Members?
I just quickly, common purpose grounded everything that we've sought to do.
Our common purpose. Members of the collaborative shared the common goal of better preparing our honors students to contribute with others to addressing the grand challenges, the great wicked problems we have as human societies, not locally and all over the world. We felt that although we were pretty good at developing good perspectives and strong skills in some areas, we could still prepare them better to work with their communities to address and make progress on some of these very difficult and complex challenges.
Foundational principles undergird our work as a collaborative and allow us to work efficiently and effectively across so many spaces. Systems thinking was the first of these principles that we employed, and later, as you will hear, we added permeability.
Our first foundational principle is systems thinking. Wicked problems are often seen as insolvable because individual components and their interactions are not readily visible. What appears on the left is just a tangled mess, but it can be mapped as a series of individual interconnected threads as shown on the right. Systems thinking is needed to solve wicked problems. As a team, we've embraced this holistic approach that emphasizes complexity and interconnectedness of disciplines and economies, geographies, politics, ecosystems, cultures, communities, and more. From events to trends to structures and mental models, we have learned together, put these principles into practice, and most importantly, shared them with our students, who, regardless of their academic and professional goals, have found systems thinking to be a most powerful tool for their toolboxes as solvers of wicked problems, as leaders, and as drivers of positive change.
Our second foundational principle that Dan already mentioned is permeability. We introduced it first last year in a publication with the title "A Relational Model for Honors Education," and the core idea behind it is a two-way transfer of knowledge. And at its core, honors education has always aimed to counteract the siloed habits of traditional academia. Honors values interdisciplinarity and collaboration, but when honors reaches its full potential as a collaborative hub, as a broad transformational impact maker, it does so, we think, when it acts as a permeable space rather than on the basis of an understanding of contagion. Permeability means more than setting a good example for student engagement and collaboration. It means recognizing the importance of ongoing exchange, learning and growing through interaction between honors and non-honors spaces. So how have we embraced permeability in the Justice Challenge? To name a few things, as a collaborative, we've worked across honors and non-honor spaces in our universities. We brought in disciplinary expertise from within honors and from beyond honors. We've leveraged the unique strengths and resources of each participating institution, lifting everybody in the process. Also, as educators, we've modeled what permeability looks like in terms of embracing new pedagogies, expanding our own mental models, and growing our knowledge, sort of bringing the spirit of epistemic modesty and making sure that we're growing just the same way that we ask our students to do. And finally, we've also published and presented inside of honors and outside of honors.
We recognize that a growth mindset is core, and that going forward, this must be part of everything that we do. Developing a growth mindset has been absolutely key.
So growth mindset is the belief that one's abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication, effort, and learning from one's mistakes. Starting from our shared vision and informed by systems thinking, we took that systems thinking practice of making thinking visible and adopted a growth mindset pursuing excellence. So excellence being the pursuit of a high standard, focused on learning from mistakes and striving for continuous improvement, as opposed to perfectionism, which is an unhealthy focus on flawless results driven by a fear of failure. However, gears can grind on some points, and how that's handled can make or break the experience. We had an expectation that all hands were on deck, and we knew that we needed to develop a culture where everyone is valued and where every collaborator knew that they could lift the team using their own skills and expertise. We accomplished this by establishing an asset map. This map began with everyone adding a bulleted list of expertise, resources, and interests that they could contribute to the team. And just as with everything that we did in our work, our asset map has continually been updated and improved. Sometimes we identified a natural talent in someone that they hadn't given themselves credit for, and sometimes the skills or expertise that were applicable emerged as our work developed. This particular iteration of the asset map is a simple visual representation of assets, including home institution, expertise, professional expertise, and desired areas of contribution. So why is this process of cooperation so critical to what we do? Most conflicts and/or failures in teams are due to a lack of communication, particularly on the topic of individual roles and responsibilities. In the beginning, this talented group of people who then hold themselves accountable to excellence were hesitant to credit themselves as having assets which would benefit the team. Through our iterations of asset maps, everyone began to acknowledge and claim their talents and recognized when they could best apply their talents in service of our mission. Making this thinking visible helped us chart a path to success.
Not surprisingly, a flexible structure has been identified as one of the most important pieces of what's made our partnership possible.
This image really summarizes the way that we work together. So we affectionately refer to each other as a wrangler and a bunch of cool cats. The person who's wrangling and the cats may change roles at any given time, but what we've learned about the flexibility of structure is that we have to continue on with that great communication and planning, as others have mentioned. At times, when we were really intensively working on that third grant application, we'd have upwards of 10 to 12 hours of meetings a week. And cats would attend whichever of those meetings directly applied to themselves, and the wrangler would attend each of those, making sure there was continuity and a through line across all of that effort. At any given time in our history, we had meetings for ideation, meetings for planning, and meetings for executing on the plan. And it was the thorough documentation and recording of those meetings that allowed members to catch up if for whatever reason they couldn't make one of the meetings. It was actively reporting out and building upon those notes. They didn't just go in an archive. We pull up the notes from the last meeting and build right on top of that for each consecutive meeting. So our theme here with Cool Cats and Wrangler runs true, and you'll hear that everybody's had an experience or two being a cat as well as a wrangler.
Some species of geese fly thousands of miles. The V formation reduces wind drag during flight, and the lead goose is the one who has to do the most work. So they rotate leadership with one goose going in and another coming out, so the flock can travel much longer distances. The collaborative work similarly was this way as professional and personal events arose. Some of these events include 4 babies, 2 grant rejections, 1 federal grant, 1 pandemic, 9 stints with COVID, 5 changes of institution, 2 retirements, 3 step-outs, 2 surgeries, loss of 4 parents, grandparents, 1 divorce, 1 50th wedding anniversary. And the work continues and as the individuals move in and out of the leadership positions. The diversity of thought is both an opportunity and a challenge. Because we are a group of cats of all different stripes who want to go their own way.
So just as flexibility was key for the team as they developed the plan and they worked together and ideated and wrote grants and then implemented that plan, flexibility was also really key to the student experience. And so as you can see on the screen, this is a flow chart to represent what it is to be a student in the Justice Challenge, to be a Justice Challenge graduate. Students work their way through that. And that included a virtual workshop and a virtual colloquium. But then in the signature experiences, students had opportunity for choice. And so there were opportunities where students could experience a field course, could engage in a design challenge, could engage in a hackathon. And then all students come back together for a culminating virtual conference. So as a newbie, I walked into one of these virtual meetings 6 months ago or so, and saw on the screen pillars of the profession. And that can certainly be overwhelming for the new person in the room. And also, I think, certainly had the opportunity for each of these folks to have a little bit of ego. But one of the things you'll notice if you've interacted with them, but one of the things I noticed as the new person in the room, that ego was certainly checked at the door. And I think this idea of humility and hubris is really important. One, everybody coming to the table focused on the students, focused on the outcomes, but also that adaptability and that need for role shifting, whether you're the cat or you're the wrangler, to be true. And some days that was the team encouraging someone who saw themselves as a kitten to engage as a lion the next day in colloquium or the next day when they're trying to air their thoughts or their passions or their ideas. And other days, you could see the lions needing to check that and see themselves in a little bit of a different role. I think there's another way to think about this, and these images can kind of conjure up this idea of who we want to become. So certainly this team is about developing our students, but this team has grown throughout this experience. And so being able to move in and out of those different roles certainly has had a role in all of us probably seeing ourselves a little bit differently today than the day that we.
You can see on this slide what is the second iteration of our organizational structure for the Justice Challenge. So put aside the other activities that we've done together as a team. So this is iteration number 2. It's organized at the top with tri-chairs on the advisory board, but the management of everything that went into the Justice Challenge took an even more robust group. So we pull in more people for the tactical management of things. And then, because our expectation of each other and ourselves is that everybody is leaning into the experience and lending their assets, their passion, their strengths, you can see that everybody took on one or more roles within subgroups under each of our 3 overriding teams. And the 3 teams to make the Justice Challenge possible were participant experience team, data and dissemination team, and the curriculum team. Each of those had co-chairs and a series of really important teams working within. Like I said, this is the second iteration. And as we take another look here, you can see that people move on. We had 3 people step out. We had two people who led extraordinary careers in service of honors and higher education, who gave robustly to the Justice Challenge, and we felt that bittersweet feeling when they retired. We had others who leaned in and out as they were changing careers, and then others had career changes that took them away from honors education. So it looks like there were several people moving out. All in all, that was about 5 people that are represented multiple times because they were leaning in multiple areas. Now we're probably on what might be our 8th iteration, and so here you can see there are extra folks who came in and who stepped into these areas, and we wanted to represent the names of these people because these folks breathed new life into the work of the Justice Challenge as they arrived, and brought even more ideas and helped us continue our collective growth and our worldviews, our mental models along the way. So it very much is a team initiative, even if members of that team are transient or whether they're longtime original members, everybody's contribution is very powerful.
But be honest, you probably just want to know what it's like to write with 14 people, right? So if you are wondering what it's like to write with 14 people, we don't always write with 14 people, but as I'm about to mention, it is something that we invite everybody to do every time there is an opportunity to work together. What really makes it function is, I think, some of the principles that have been outlined. I think there is strong leadership, there is the wrangling business, but there's inclusivity at the same time, and there's clarity of role. So while there's flexibility in who does what in different times, there is clarity of roles when we're doing the thing in question. So the pit stop model, which we honestly came up with for the purpose of this presentation, but we thought, oh my gosh, this really does the trick here in terms of explaining how we get a manuscript out of the door. So it captures the teamwork, the speed, and the purposefulness of our process when we get going on one of our publications. So as you can see through the lineup of things that happen, an initiator becomes the project wrangler. And after the group has had a chance to evaluate the idea in terms of the overall priorities of the collaborative, the wrangler does the wrangling. But again, everybody is invited to participate. The wrangler usually provides a strong outline, and the cats volunteer or are assigned to different parts, and that's where it becomes clear where in a particular project somebody wants to contribute lots of content, offering lots of direction, or alternatively, perhaps wants to do more of the editing and work on the flow of the contribution. But all authors contribute something very meaningful to content creation each time. So once the content is sketched out in a live common document, we really lean into the pit stop model and do handoffs to successive authors and editors. And maybe what I'm about to mention is the strangest but the most effective part. We've developed a culture of if there are two authors agree to an edit, it moves along and it's accepted. And nobody becomes overly precious about their contribution, realizing that the editors and those who have the role of making the whole thing fit together really need freedom to act in order to create the common voice. Our timelines have varied, but I will say that a couple of our smaller publications have sometimes come together in as little as 2 or 3 weeks.
All right, as Keith mentioned earlier, this team came together on the last day of 2020. All right, and since that time, and using the pit stop model and everything else that's been discussed today, we've been actively publishing on really 3 areas. The Justice Challenge certainly is one of those main themes, but community and professional development is one because we've learned so much from one another. Innovating in honors has certainly been an area that both through the Justice Challenge and beyond and other areas of interest to this team has emerged. So collectively, there's 13 peer-reviewed articles and counting, as well as 21 conference presentations. And what I'd like to point out in particular on this slide is we've only listed the first author at all. you'll notice very clearly how everybody has stepped into that wrangler role a couple of times, at least. Okay, so this isn't one person who's got the idea and is running with it and just bringing all the cats in line. Everybody is stepping into that role when they bring a great idea and some energy along. And the other thing that I wanted to point out here is that it's really been a pleasure. Though you can't see it with a few words on a slide, I have grown so much professionally and been lifted so much personally by this team of folks and others who couldn't be here with us today. So this slide is in a way counting, but when we look at it, it brings up so much more than a few numbers of papers or presentations.
The horizon. Our collaboration is already 5 years young and is really just getting started. And so from here, Tim's going to tell us how we go forward.
So we look forward to a bright future with the collaboration, and as we wrap up our third year of funding with the Justice Challenge, we are looking forward to what comes next. There have been lots of ideas that have been bubbling around the back burners of our work, and now we're excited for a future. We aim to put together a dissemination project and program that helps us spread the word and share the lessons of our work with the Justice Challenge. We're also going to be spending putting in a lot of time, effort, and energy on the assessment of our work. So what are the lessons learned? What really is working? What's not working so well? How can we make this collaborative even better, stronger, and faster? And we invite all of you to be a part of that future.
Hopefully we've inspired you a bit, both about collaboration, but also about the Justice Challenge. And here I'm going to take a moment to selfishly share out with you that we have two presentations in the coming day, which will help to give you a little deeper dive into what the Justice Challenge is about. And no better way to have that than to have our students talk to you about what those opportunities will be tomorrow.
Hello, my name is Brooke and I will be with my classmate Dylan. We are honors students attending NCHC for the first time. We're so excited to share our experience with students and community engaged learning during this conference. Join us tomorrow at 8 a.m. in Sapphire A to learn more about our experience. We're excited to see you then.
So that's 8 o'clock tomorrow, but now at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Hey everyone, I'm Nariti. I'm from the University of Louisville.
I'm Matna. I'm from the University of Montana.
And I'm Olivia from South Dakota State University.
And we're so excited to be attending the NCHC with you guys.
We humbly invite you to attend a presentation of our experiences participating in the Justice Challenge.
Join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Indigo Rooms D.
We end all of our colloquial sessions with an admonition to the students.
Let's
change the world.
As your conference chair and incoming NCHC president, I've been so pleased to have been part of this life-changing collaboration. Our conference theme this year focuses on charting partnerships and collaborations to inspire honors. This follows directly from the work my dear colleagues have done with me. It is my sincere hope that this presentation and the conference in totality inspire you to seek out and develop new partnerships and collaborations to strengthen your work in honors. So with that, I'm going to invite questions from the audience. And I can share out with you, if you don't know this already, that our programs on the main stage are all going to be live streamed. And so we are being joined today by colleagues from other parts of the country and part of the world taking in the experience from the main stage. So I encourage you to use the QR code that's in front of you to type in a question. But if you're bold, simply to stand up in the audience if you'd like. to help us think out what you might want to hear from my dear colleagues.
Looks like there's a hand at the back.
There's one in the back.
My dear colleagues can see better than I can. Way in the back, if you could stand up and project out really well for us. The question is from Lucy Lauf, and the question is overlap with the engineering grand challenges and how those play out at our institutions.
We also have a Grand Challenges engineering program that's associated with an honors program within the College of Engineering at the University of Houston, which collaborates very closely with the Honors College. And it's a first-year experience for those engineering students. And it isn't just honors, there are many non-honors students as well. And we haven't figured out a way to integrate that more closely yet. And so if you have suggestions, make sure and come up afterwards and let us know, or let us know now.
I'd like to maybe point to Tim, who adopted the Grand Challenges approach through an initial higher education challenge grant when he was dean at South Dakota State University. Do you want to tell him about that?
Right.
Sure. So my background is in agriculture, and I had the great opportunity to become an honors dean. And I thought that this work in the Grand Challenge space was a wonderful way to bring those together. And so my initial work in this area, and I think a thread that was picked up in the Justice Challenge, was focusing on grand challenges as they were articulated at that time by the United States Department of Agriculture's Higher Education Challenge Grants Program. And so issues of food justice, climate justice, sustainable agriculture were funding priorities for USDA, and we were excited to engage those issues as a place to start. But as we've been working in this area, lots of other grand challenges have come across our radars. Well, what if we had a colloquium or a Justice Challenge sequence about health? What if we did a year on water? There are so many great possibilities. But that sort of gives you a little background on how we got started and where the focus came from. It was, to some degree, driven by our funders.
Yeah. So I'll just add one more note, and thanks for the question, Lucy. Similar to what Heidi described, we did not get the same sort of engagement from students who are thinking about grand challenges from those other kind of situations. But as you heard from Tim, our focus with this was how USDA is defining the grand challenges. There's also the slide that we had from the UN grand challenges. Mm-hmm. And I think no matter what kind of grand challenge program that you're running, the model that we were working with and articulated with the vision that Becky shared, what if students had access to the infrastructure, the expertise of honors across the nation? I think you could adapt this kind of approach and reach out to engineering colleagues, in particular about those engineering grand challenges, and bring this kind of collaborative approach to that.
Engineers, both faculty and students, were one of the primary groups that stepped forward in that initial South Dakota State University Challenge Grant. So it was a partnership between honors and education, human sciences, and
agriculture. And engineering.
Yeah. But then students and faculty from every one of the 7 academic colleges stepped forward to participate.
Dr. Sloan?
Elaborate on what it looked like from a student perspective. Were they signing up for courses, study abroad? I have no idea how the program was implemented or what the budget was used for. Did they develop special courses or experiences or travel? What does participation mean from a student on different campuses?
That's a great question. So the question is, what does it look like in terms of a student signing up? Are they signing up for classes? Are they signing up for what? How do you do that across so many institutions? Because, by the way, we've had more than 250 students from 34 institutions participate. So that's a lot of coordination. It was really important for us to maintain access. So as we were designing the curriculum, we took each component. Like, for example, that colloquium. And given the time and the content that was built into the colloquium, we recommended that as a 2-credit equivalent, or possibly a 2-credit equivalent that a home institution could tack on a 3rd credit to if they continued through the rest of the semester, since it was a 10-week sequence. The hackathon is a 30-hour 1-credit envisioned experience. Design challenges and field courses are both intensive and longer term. Those are 3-credit recommendations each. We did not believe that a student should be required to take credit or to enroll in credits to participate in the Justice Challenge. But if a student was interested in earning credit, we would contact their home institution's honors college representative and talk to them about, here's the syllabus, here are the assignments and assessments that we do, and make a recommendation for how many credits that could be, and we'd work with them. We would then have the students doing their assignments. We never graded. That's our policy. Grading is something that belongs best within a home institution, but we did assess and provide feedback to the students. So if a student was enrolled in credit at their home institution, we could share the artifact as well as the assessment, because it's ungraded, back to the home institution, and they could choose how to implement their own institution's grading policy on that. And in terms of funding, brought in guest speakers. We were able to provide students with some resources, both in terms of experience and physical resources or texts that we could send out. Those who participate in the field course, we flew them to the location for that experience. So funding addressed a lot of different types of things for us.
The question is, how does the collaboration follow? I'm sorry, one more time?
Here.
So how do we continue now that the grant is in its final year? And this is maybe a really good place for us to share some vulnerability with you. So we recently had a conversation, and this team, as you can see by the productivity in the last 4 years that we've been together, we had a conversation that was really unusual to us when most tasks come forward and we say, yeah, let's find a way. When deciding whether to just put it up based on our own resources and willpower next year, or to take a year to finish the assessments really thoroughly and do some intensive planning for what's next. I really thought that this team was going to say, we'll do it all, but I'm really proud of us for taking a moment, and it was a tense, not tense, it was a strained conversation because that was so unfamiliar to this team. It was quiet. When we finally decided we're going to take the next year and thoroughly assess, learn everything we can, and plan thoughtfully for what's next. So that, the pause that you're feeling in me is the pause that we felt as we came to that conclusion. But we already have discussed how we can move it forward with or without grant funding. For example, we all know that federal grants are up in question, and we didn't know if funding would come through for this year. So we thought about what are the costs now that we've established the baseline. What are the true costs of putting this forward in a year if we need to somehow figure out how to put some funds forward and make the colloquium and the Justice Challenge go this year? And we were each able to scrap together resources of different sizes based on different programs of budgets and everything, and the amount that we were each able to contribute was meaningful from us and to the collective. And we found a way to plan to go ahead and go forward now that a lot of the baseline had been established. Because the base implementation, the iterations, that's where a lot of those initial costs came in. And we'll need to continue to find some ways to fund this longer term, but we've got some ideas there too.
And I've got the other kind of trajectory or sort of piece of this is, I mean, we concentrated on talking about the Justice Challenge, but we also hinted that we have like other interests, you know, so we've had, and at all times we have like these conversations regarding, do we have space for this thing that doesn't fit, you know, down the middle of this very, you know, time-intensive thing that we're for sure doing. And I'm thinking of capstones. We've had a lot of interest in understanding the state of capstones and honors. So, you know, that may be something like that may be another direction we can go while we're doing our assessment, or thinking about, you know, if we're doing a version of the Justice Challenge in the future, does it look exactly the same way as it's looked so far, or will it look any differently? We will also consider some of our other interests and see what else we can finish now that we won't be doing this exactly.
I'll also point out that everything that we've developed is intended to be shared. So if you're interested in any of the curriculum, the assignments, the rubrics, anything like that, we're happy to share. We can share those with you now, or about this time next year, we'll have completed our intensive assessment of everything, and we'll have updated and made any tweaks based upon that. But that's one of our intended outcomes, is to be able to share this broadly with anybody who's interested.
I just want to add one more fast comment on sustainability, because as I was just sitting here and listening to my friends and colleagues' response, it occurs to me that the ultimate sustainability of the work of this group is the team itself. So whatever the nature of the funding, whatever the nature of the challenge, we're sort of in it together, and we'll keep chipping away.
There's a question in the back.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The question is the integration of transfer students, and I think there's something to share out regarding the types of students who have participated.
I would just say that I think one of the great strengths of the Justice Challenge, from a pedagogical and, if I may, a student's perspective, is the exposure to the diversity of the cast of characters that are on the Zoom every week. So students, international students, transfer students, non-traditional students, students representing a breadth of majors and academic interests. So it's really, and that's been wonderful. I think as dean of an honors college that has mostly traditionally aged students who are predominantly white, to be on the Zoom with such a rich cast, rich and diverse student body and group of facilitators has been just a real strength, and another real wonderful opportunity that the collaborative provides that wouldn't be possible just at the home institution.
That's well said. And we've had transfer students, we've had first-year students, we've had everything in between. We've even had a couple people beg, I just graduated, but I'm staying on for grad school. Can I participate? Sure. And we've had some students come back who completed the first or second year who wanted to participate in the next year. We incorporated many of those, invited them to serve as TAs, but some of them still wanted to go through the experience again because they knew that they'd learn more.
And
The question is with regard to partnerships with community colleges and the integration of community college and transfer students.
no, but we clearly should. That's a great idea. And the conversation that was had before, I just wanted to also mention that, you know, in our kind of thinking through permeability, you know, where does honor sit in, you know, with respect to all other partnerships on and off campuses? You know, we've had really good conversations around what we owe to non-honor students with respect to the Justice Challenge too. So I believe we've probably had a few non-honor students that have joined us as well. Yeah. So yeah, I think, but that's really, it's a
Yeah.
Great idea. We should really think about
And
that.
students from community colleges are welcome to participate in this too. They don't need to wait and see if they transfer into another university. They're welcome right now.
Right. So to Andrea's point, I don't know that we intentionally sought out community college participation, but we did do broadcast recruitment. So really broad invitations through NCHC, through the APLU Cohee group. I know I put it out through the Texas Honors Network. So it was an all call.
Perhaps we have a final question? Yes, please.
So projecting too, but first off, I think almost every student here participated in the Justice Challenge, and I think I can speak for all of us in saying how much we appreciated this experience in so many different ways. You certainly covered this, but if you could speak to one or two of the most important aspects of keeping that continuity between individuals that were retiring and phasing out, what do you think was the most important aspect? Was it like structure? Was it like the note-taking, the communication? What did that look like?
I'll volunteer one perspective, and I'm sure my colleagues have others. For me, because I just started a new position midway through that was huge, and I needed to step away to some degree. I had to communicate that clearly. I had to accept it. I felt guilty, because I couldn't, carry on the same role. But I had to accept that now was a time I was going to contribute in a different way, and in the future I might be able to resume, more activities. So I think one of the key things was knowing yourself, knowing what you can and cannot do, and then communicating that to colleagues.
I think
I was just going to say, Olivia, and thanks. And Olivia is one of our awesome teaching assistants and was a great student in the Justice Challenge. Such a bright light. I was just going to say, I think something that's been important there is just the depth of the bench. Like the notion of writing with 14 people might feel a little unwieldy, but when you have 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 folks, if one steps away or a couple step away, there's room. And then Greg the Great Heiberger there stepping in with new ideas and new energy and ready to come in. So I think the depth of the bench, the quality of the folks, the clear communications. And I think I'm thinking about Greg's humility and hubris slide, where no one is irreplaceable, with the possible exception of Dean Bott here, who is the wrangler of the wranglers. But being humble about that and being willing to step up, but also having the confidence, hey, I can do this. I can be the lead on this project because we're going to take one for the team, or this is my turn. So anyway, I think that has helped us with those transitions.
Yeah, maybe another word that trust, I think, might be partly what allowed all of this to work. Because, as Heidi shared her experience, I had similar experiences, and the fact that there's sort of trust to pull away and come back, again, except for Becky, who somehow has never pulled back. but yeah, so I think that's a big piece of what allows it to be a continuing partnership.
And so thank you to our students and our partners who are in the audience. I think even watching our students step in, so Olivia is a former student and now is a TA, got an email, and it couldn't have come at a better time because I was going, oh my gosh, how do we do this thing? She said, hey, would it be all right with you? Could I get the TAs together and kind of lead us in a team approach to solving some of these issues? That's just amazing. And the fact that she's willing to do that, the fact that everybody on the team is willing to do that and just fold in to lift together, it's the people that make it possible.
I want to thank all of you for coming out this morning to take in and learn from my colleagues. Can I give everyone a big round of applause? Thank you very much. This concludes our session. We look forward to seeing you back on the main stage for future events. Have a great conference. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Well done, team.
Awesome.
Look at that timing.
Great.